On September 8, 2021, an historical trial opened. It involved the youngest female billionaire publicly known as the female Steve Jobs. Due to its scale, this trial was going to reshape the ways of the famous technological innovation incubator, the Silicon Valley. This is the story of Theranos.
Elizabeth Holmes was born on February 3, 1984, in Washington, D.C. One of the earliest noticeable points in her life was her academic career. In 2002, after studying religiously in high school, Holmes first attended the prestigious Stanford University, where she studied chemical engineering and worked as a student researcher and laboratory assistant in the School of Engineering. But after an internship at the Genome Institute of Singapore and an amazing first year, at the start of the second, a casual but defining conversation occurred between her and a very famous Stanford professor, Channing Robertson. She shared with him her desire to drop out and found her own company. This desire appeared after the summer of 2003, during which Elizabeth Holmes filed her first patent application at 19 years old for a wearable drug delivery patch labeled as the TheraPatch, equipped with a microchip able to analyze blood samples in order to give a medical prescription. After that, and despite a doubtful answer from a professor of medicine, she dropped out of college and founded her own consumer healthcare technology company, Theranos, a portmanteau of therapy and diagnosis.
Because of her idolizing admiration for Apple's deceased co-founder Steve Jobs, she deliberately copied his style, frequently dressing in a black turtleneck sweater as he did. This is also the reason behind the company's minimal and uncluttered visual identity. During most of her public appearances, Theranos founder spoke in a deep and unsettling baritone voice.
I believe the individual is the answer to the challenges of healthcare.
At this time, Theranos' ambition was to build a version of the TheraPatch by creating a brand new technology able to perform 370 analyses using a single drop of blood or of any fluid to then give an entire medical diagnostic to the patient. This project had ambitions as big as changing the availability of medical diagnostics worldwide by allowing even the most expensive tests to be done with a much lower cost, allowing even the poorest population to get the information and treatment they need before it's too late. It will also have a big impact on the United States population, since the healthcare system there makes the same process very expensive for any civilian. In 2013, the company was valued at $10 million, which was at the time almost the same amount as Snapchat. Up to this point, Elizabeth managed to raise more than $700 million in funds from multiple investors around the world, and it is from this point onwards that she became publicly known as one of the most successful businesswomen, especially for her age. Being considered the youngest billionaire businesswoman, she featured on the covers of well-known magazines such as Fortune or Forbes, for instance, while being frequently compared to Steve Jobs. During this time, she did many conventions all over the world, and in 2015 had a convention alongside Alibaba's CEO Jack Ma and the former US President Bill Clinton. Therefore, during the same year, Elizabeth reached the peak of her career with her fortune estimated at a whopping $4.5 billion. Her company was even valued at $9 billion, which is a crazy number to achieve.
That's when things seem to be going very well. Maybe too well. Maybe, just maybe, things were too good to be true. A journalist from the Wall Street Journal, John Carreyrou, twice Pulitzer Prize winner, seemed to have doubts about Theranos' ability to bring their project to fruition. When he looked into the matter, he saw many inconsistencies, including the fact that there was no scientific paper on the way the Theranos machine functioned. Even the scientific committee found this innovation unfeasible. Moreover, Elizabeth had created an ambient climate of fear within her company, thanks to an aggressive management system and a lot of surveillance towards her employees, which is why the latter started to testify against her. Many experts also linked her deep baritone voice to this investigation, as it may have been fake and used by Theranos' founder to convey trust in her product during interviews, public adverts, and even within the company.
The health and well-being of every person, of those we love.
Regarding the project, when they allowed customers to do tests, it turned out that the company was using more traditional machines bred Siemens and not their own in order to provide fake test results. In 2015, John Carew decided to publish his investigation, and it was from that point on that the Theranos empire went into a freefall, as Elizabeth Holmes could not provide any viable explanation.
I don't know specifically. I'm not sure. I don't know exactly. I just don't know.
A year before that, in 2014, because the company's shares were only coming from private investors, the price of each share implied a $9 billion valuation. But in June of 2016, the famous economic journal Forbes plummeted this value to $800 million after learning about Carrier's investigation and many other factors such as Theranos' annual revenues actually being less than $100 million. That's when the mask dropped.
The story of Theranos highlights many of the problems of this mentality. In Silicon Valley, new startups pop out every day with the ambition of becoming the next big thing and leaving their mark on the world even if they are only a dream. This makes investors easily willing to invest big amounts of money into a vision, a future, and not a concrete, feasible product. They are basically gambling to find the most profitable horse. In this particular case, there was also a desire from multiple groups to see a woman rise and achieve success in the tech industry, exclusively composed of businessmen and not many businesswomen.
In the end, be careful not to wrap yourself in the web of your own lies. Otherwise, you might lose a lot in the long run.